Hello there, welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. My name is GOUDEAU, and today we're going to be talking about that severe weather once again that's going to be popping up in the central and southern plains. We're talking about Oklahoma, Texas, parts of Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas is going to be seeing that threat for severe weather out there today. Once again, I just get the feeling that this is all I'm talking about lately is severe storms and tornadoes and all this crazy wildness going on. But however, we are coming into, this is the month of May. And May tends to be the busiest month as far as tornadoes are concerned, especially down in Oklahoma and Texas. And if you're in the Arkansas and Kansas area, this is kind of a big area, a big time of the year. Because we've had several prominent tornadoes occur within that first couple weeks of May. We're coming up on May 13th, which is the anniversary for the El Reno tornado, which took the lives of some storm chasers, as well as we're talking about, I think the 5th was one of the Moore tornadoes. We've had a few times where Moore and Midwest City were hit by F5 tornadoes or disastrous tornadoes that have taken the lives of people. We've had the tornado last week on Friday there with that took the lives of 3 Oklahoma University meteorology students that were just coming back home from the chase. They were out chasing. They were probably chasing the Andover tornado, and they were trying to make their way back home. And I guess wet roadways or came into a storm or something, and they hydroplaned and went across the median and went head on into a semi. And I mean, we had Casey, a storm chaser here from Minnesota, who died a couple years ago, coming back home from a storm chase. And being a storm chaser is a dangerous job, but they do it to help keep everybody safe. Those guys are tremendous to the meteorologists that are in the office, like me here. I'm in my studio. I have the radar and all my equipment that I use to track storms, but I can only do so much. It's those guys out there in the field, down there, out there in the elements, who really get us the first-hand pictures of what's going on. The radar can indicate a tornado or a rotation, but we need guys on the ground to get eyeballs on what we're seeing on the radar to confirm, So what they do is very important. And my heart and my thoughts and prayers go out to the families of those OU students that lost their lives doing what they love. Being a meteorologist is a passion, I have plans too to get out there and do some storm chasings, much to to my wife not being happy about it and says she's not able to support me in that piece because it's so dangerous. But it's what I love. I mean, honestly, what am I going to school for? Why am I pursuing a meteorology degree just to sit in my office and look at computer screens? No. You have to get out there in the field. You got to experience the weather and what's going on. You have to put your knowledge that you learn in school and get eyeballs and see it firsthand. You need to see the storm structure, see what the atmosphere is doing. That's how you learn it. You learn by doing. I can read books and look at this and that all day, but you're not out there. You're not really getting it done. You have to spend some time out in the field, out in the elements, You got to get chased by a couple of tornadoes, because eventually the tornado chases you instead of you chasing it. And, nearly getting struck by lightning. I know, some guys like Reed Timmer, guy's a psycho, man. There's this guy you got Reed Timmer, Tim Samers, rest in peace. Those guys, Sean Casey, the guy from Minnesota, he lost his wife. Rest in peace to all those guys, to all the storm chasers who've lost their lives doing what they love and trying to help keep everybody safe. So, shout out to all of the weather professionals and meteorologists, the TV guys, the National Weather Service, the college professors who teach meteorology, everybody involved, the people who maintain the radar equipment, all the IT, the technical, everybody involved with the field of meteorology and helping to get that information out there. I do this because it helps to keep people safe and educate the public on the dangers with the weather and some of the hazards out there, especially in our spring and summer months here in the United States. We're coming up on May now. We're in the month of May. Hurricane season is going to be starting pretty soon. So I'm going to start my coverage of the tropics today. I'm going to have a little piece on here about the tropics. But anyway, welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching this video. And please leave your likes, your comments, share your thoughts about what you think of the severe weather season that we're having right now. Does it compare to past seasons? Do you think we're getting off a little bit easier this year? So just leave your thoughts and your comments. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Helps the channel grow. It helps me get the message out there. Alright, so let's talk about the weather right now that's going on. Over my shoulder here, we're looking at the city of Seattle. Beautiful downtown Seattle. And that's our city of the day. You've got temperatures right now in the mid-40s right there. And you're going to be seeing some showers move into your area later today as we get another Pacific storm that's going to make its way onto the West Coast. Right now, let's take a look. We're going to jump onto our maps and take a look at that severe weather that's going to be taking place across the Central Plains and eventually into the Deep South and the Ozarks and the Mississippi Valley. So, all right, let's jump into that. All right, so now it's time to jump into our maps and take a look and kind of pin down what we're going to be seeing out there as far as the severe weather and different things going on across the country. So here we are, we're looking at our first map. This map is going to be talking about the hazards out there that the National Weather Service have posted, different watches and warnings for different things. And right here, we're going to be looking at an excessive rainfall. So this large area here from North Texas into the state of Oklahoma, parts of Missouri and Arkansas there, going to be looking at that potential for excessive rainfall. So this is a flood watch. So some areas here can pick up as much as 6 to 8 inches of rain before we get to Friday. So between now and Friday, you guys in the Ozarks here, in northern Oklahoma, Tulsa, in that area here, southern Kansas, southern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas are going to be looking at as much as 6 to 8 inches of rain. So we're definitely going to be talking about some excessive rainfall with some of those thunderstorms that's going to be developing out there. We're already seeing some thunderstorm activity here across parts of Oklahoma this morning, but that activity is going to move on out of there, and we're going to get a new round of activity that's going to develop after this afternoon, and then we're going to see that threat for those tornadoes and large hail and damaging winds come in with those thunderstorms later this afternoon. We have our red flag warning down here across the southwest through New Mexico, West Texas there, the Texas Panhandle, the Oklahoma Panhandle. We're talking about that red flag advisory, very dry air. Very dry air, warm air, kind of warm, and we're dealing with those gusty winds out there. Those storm systems move down out of the southern Rockies and out into the plain states. Now, storms translate their energy in different ways. Some storms are excessive rainfall producers. Some storms you get storms, sometimes it's snow, but sometimes it's just windy. It translates it through a lot of wind. So we're not seeing a lot of precipitation down here across New Mexico and West Texas. So we're going to be seeing a lot of dry air, cooler air from times as these fronts and storms move by, but we're going to see that change in the wind direction, and we're going to see those gusty winds gusting to about 50 miles per hour down through this region here. So we're going to see those dry conditions, so that fire danger is going to exist there. Here across the northern plains, we're going to be looking at flooding. Now, they've had a lot of snow in southern Canada as well as in the Dakotas and Montana, and all of that melting snow is running down towards the Red River Valley. It's a valley, so you see it's a downward slope toward the large rivers here, and it's going to be flooding in that area because of the snow melt across the Dakotas there. So we're going to see that flooding problem continue for those regions. And then down here across the south here, in Florida and parts of Alabama, southern Georgia here, this is for dense fog, as we got those very high dew points as that moisture comes up off of the Gulf of Mexico. And in the overnight and early morning hours, those dew points in that overnight low temperatures get to be about the same. And once that dew point reaches what the actual air temperature is, then you're going to see that fog develop. So that's what we're seeing down there. Not a whole lot else going on across the country. Maybe a couple minor watches and deals going on here. But for the most part, that's the 4 main problem areas going on across the country for your Wednesday. Is that what today is? Yeah, it's Wednesday. All right. Okay, so here's the radar right now. As we look at the national radar, we're seeing those showers and storms here across central Oklahoma, northeast Oklahoma into Tulsa, Bartlesville. This is going to be moving into Fayetteville, Arkansas, eventually here, Branson, Missouri. You're going to also be seeing those showers and storms move into this area. We've already seen some severe thunderstorms, no tornado watches or anything warnings yet, but we have seen some severe thunderstorms in this activity this morning. We have some more showers and thunderstorms here across the Texas Panhandle and the Oklahoma Panhandle as well. So we're going to be seeing this line of storms move into Oklahoma City about your mid-morning or so, maybe about an hour. You're going to be seeing those thunderstorms. But this activity doesn't have anything severe, but there is a couple severe cells in this activity. And we're seeing a little bit of rainfall here across the northern plains into South Dakota. Some rainfall spreading through that area as well. Maybe a stray thunderstorm. And then there's a little bit more moisture here across the northern Rockies and the Columbia River Gorge there, the Columbia River Basin. Here across Washington, we're going to be seeing some showers over there just north of Spokane, you folks in Spokane. And we'll be seeing those showers come on down the pike here into the Puget Sound, into Seattle. Going to be getting that rainfall a little bit later on today. As we saw, Seattle is our city of the day. There's that rainfall that's going to be moving into your area later today. We're seeing dry conditions here across the Southwest, Southern California into Arizona, New Mexico, maybe Nevada, Utah. Going to be dry conditions for the most part for the next several days. I think you're pretty much done with the rainy season across Southern California. We've had a very dismal year as far as precipitation is concerned. Going to go down in the record book as the driest year on record since we've been keeping those records of the rainfall across California. Texas, you're going to be seeing some showers and storms develop throughout the daytime here into the later parts of today. Tonight and then tomorrow, you're going to see those severe thunderstorms here across north central Texas. So Dallas, Fort Worth, you guys are going to be kind of in the line for those showers and storms later today, as well as tomorrow. Tomorrow, you're going to be seeing it across Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. You guys are going to be seeing that. Well, let me not spill it all. Let's go on to another map. I'm going to tell the whole forecast just looking at this guy right here. What's the matter with me? All right, so here's our surface analysis of what we're going to be seeing out there today. All right, so here we are. Here's our troublemaker. Once again, same setup that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks now with these storm systems, these Colorado lows that's been drifting out of this New Mexico and Colorado here. They've been drifting out of this area into the southern plains. So once again, we have our stationary front here that's going across the southeast. We have a dry line, and we also have our cold front that's going to be sweeping in out of New Mexico and Arizona. This is a dry cold front as now because of the dry land coming off of Mexico here in the desert southwest. So it's not really a very prominent moisture fetch here just yet. But not until our front makes it out here and it can line up with that Gulf of Mexico moisture source. Parts of pull in that moisture off of the Gulf of Mexico. Until that happens, we have our dry line right here through southwest Texas. And this dry line that's going to help aid in the development of the severe storms we're going to be seeing across this region this afternoon and evening. As those discrete supercells, because of their divergence in this area, we have our triple point, our stationary front, dry line. We have our cold front. Maybe there's a little bit of an occlusion right here in this region, some occlusion going on. Our upper level low pressure center, which is not vertically stacked, by the way, and it's also an open wave. So we don't have a closed low like we did with that Friday storm that brought that tornado to Andover, Kansas. So we don't have a closed low this time, not quite. So it's more of an open wave. So we are seeing that area of low pressure right there. And this is going to move slowly out into the plains here. But in the meantime, it's going to spread some very heavy rainfall through this region here into the Ozarks and the Oklahoma here in North Texas. But we're not going to really see that heavy rainfall until our frontal boundary gets out here to where it can tap in to that Gulf of Mexico moisture. So our cold front is going to have to overrun the dry line. And once we get that overrunning starting to occur, those tornadic storms are really going to get the firing right here through central and southern Oklahoma. So Oklahoma City, Purcell, we're talking Lawton, Oklahoma, Wichita Falls, Texas. Yep. Denton, the areas north of Dallas, Fort Worth. Woo, it could be an interesting afternoon and evening out there for you folks. So here's what we're going to be seeing for your Thursday out there. Our low pressure center is very slowly moving to the east. Not a lot of energy behind it to kick it on out of there just yet. So it's going to kind of meander out here in the central and southern plains. So now it's going to move into Kansas, and we're going to see that same triple point. Now it's got a warm front lifting up. So now that warm front slowly going to start to move. So it's going to pull in some more moisture here off the southeast and the Atlantic, as well as that Gulf of Mexico moisture coming in here along our cold front. Now our warm front, our dry line has been overrun by the cold front. So now we're going to start to see that rainfall come up off of the Gulf of Mexico. Now the dynamics are in place for that excessive rainfall. But once that heavy rainfall really kicks in, our tornado threat starts to diminish, because now the focus is on rainfall producing instead of producing tornadoes and other forms of severe weather. So now we're going to deal with heavy thunderstorms through Arkansas and Missouri for your Thursday. Now that tornado threat is going to always exist and be possible, but the tornado threat on your Thursday is going to be much lower. But we're going to be dealing with hail, damaging winds, and very heavy rainfall. The biggest threat, I think, for Thursday is going to be flooding and problems with excessive rain. So you're going to get copious amounts of rain in short periods of time. And even though it's pretty wet down here in general because of it's a rainy area and there's a lot of swampland down here, you can even overwhelm that with too much rainfall. And since there's a lot of swampland down here, a lot of marshland, so it's very wet, a lot of wetlands in this area. In eastern Oklahoma, East Texas, you get down there by Beaumont, Lake Charles, Louisiana, you get in these places, Shreveport, Alexandria, Pineville, you get into these regions here, you don't need that much rainfall to cause flooding issues. So if you're talking about 6 to 8 inches of rain, you're really gonna have a problem with that flooding down in this part of the country. So that's something we're gonna really have to keep an eye out on for that potential for the flooding, and that rainfall is gonna come all the way into Missouri. We're talking into Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa as well, Western Illinois, Eastern Kentucky, Western Tennessee, going to be seeing some of that rainfall as well. But I think our bullseye for the heaviest rainfall is going to be Eastern Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. So here's what we're going to be looking at for your Friday. Our system slowly now makes a little bit further to the east. Our severe weather threat is going to be down here in Mississippi and Alabama. You're going to be seeing that severe weather threat. And now it's just going to be a slight risk for severe weather for this region. So the tornado threat is going to be a little bit low, but that excessive rainfall is now it's going to make its way into the deep south here, into Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. You're going to be dealing with this severe weather threat there. Heavy rainfall is going to spread into the mid-Atlantic states, the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, as well as the upper Midwest. We're going to be seeing that heavy rainfall. Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, we're talking Missouri here, continue heavy rainfall, but you guys won't be dealing with so much of the severe threat, but excessive rainfall is definitely going to be on the cards for all you guys. All right, so here's our severe weather outlook. All right, so for today, we have our enhanced threat right here through Oklahoma. We have North Texas. All right, the Texas Panhandle going to be in that enhanced threat. Then we have our slight risk here for northern Oklahoma, far east, far western Arkansas, the very southwestern tip of Missouri. We have North Texas through central and west Texas, southwest Texas, going to be dealing with that slight risk of severe weather. This is more scattered severe storms. This will be more numerous severe storms, so conditions will be worse where you see that enhanced threat. And then we have our marginal risk in the dark green, and that is just isolated severe storms. That is going to be more marginally severe, so you're not going to see the worst storms from here. The worst storms will no doubt be in this region here. All right, and then we have another area of a slight risk or marginal risk for severe weather here in the Piedmont and the Mid-Atlantic states. So we got South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia and Maryland that's going to be in line. I'm glad that my brain worked to remember Maryland. I keep forgetting Maryland, and what's that other state next to Virginia? Maryland and D.C. All right, so you Baltimore folks going to be dealing with that slight marginal risk for severe weather. I don't expect any tornadoes, but some pea-sized and maybe nickel and dime-sized hail, and maybe some damaging winds with some of the stronger thunderstorms is to be expected there. We'll see general thunderstorms, non-severe, through Florida, through Georgia. We have Mississippi, Alabama, Mississippi, maybe parts of Tennessee, Kentucky here, into the great state of Missouri, southwestern Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas. We're going to be talking about Colorado here. And we got Wyoming also going to be seeing some of those. Let me write my eye here. All right, so, okay. I was starting to burn in water. Didn't know what that was all about. But so anyway, that's our severe threat, our thunderstorm outlook for today. Here's our thunderstorm outlook for tomorrow. The chaos moves slightly a little bit to the east as our storm kind of lollygags around here and doesn't really decide to know how far or where it wants to go, but it's going to center itself here over Arkansas, Louisiana. We got East Texas here. I also see some severe here across northwestern Mississippi, Alabama as well. We got western Tennessee, western Kentucky, southern Illinois. We're looking at central Missouri, southeastern Kansas, central Oklahoma down into central Texas. So all this area have the potential for seeing that severe weather, but that worst threat is going to be right here across mainly the state of Arkansas. So Little Rock, I think, is going to be the largest city that's going to be under that severe weather threat for the enhanced region right there for you guys. So you'll be seeing that crazy weather going on for you folks. Okay, so now the tornado threat is going to be low, as this is going to be primarily a heavy rain event, as well as maybe some damaging wind and some hail. But it's going to be maybe ping pong size hail, maybe golf ball at the most. But it's not going to be the worst weather is going to happen in Oklahoma. But as this moves east, it's going to tap into a lot more moisture, so we're going to have more of a rainfall event. Now, one of the reasons I think that's going to happen is because we have high pressure here across the north, southern Canada. We have a very large area of high pressure across the northern tier of the country, and that high pressure is extended a little bit into the northern plains here, the southern plains of Texas, Canada, southern plains of Canada. We're talking Edmonton, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, those states. I keep saying Texas. Damn, when I think of big, I think of Texas. So, anyway, all right, so we have that big area of high pressure, and it's suppressing the storm. Most of the time, the high pressure is out here, so the storms have been kicking to the northeast. This time, the high pressure is a lot further to the north, so the storm is going to be deflected more to the south. So it's going to take a more southerly track, so the storm is going to eventually end out here instead of way up here like the last storm did in the last few storms. Basically what the storm's been doing through the entire winter. We're basically still in the same weather pattern that we were primarily in through January, through February. We saw the storms come down out of the Canadian Rockies. They ride down the front range of the Rockies, drop into Colorado, New Mexico, come out into the central and southern plains, then turn around the trough, and there's a ridge over the east. They would out into the northeast, into northeastern Canada, New Brunswick, Newfoundland. They would shoot out into the North Atlantic, just south of Greenland. We were seeing those storms kind of behave that way. That's been our pattern through most of the winter, and we're kind of still sort of in that pattern with some minor fluctuations, but essentially, yeah, the same thing, which is one reason why it's been perpetually cold across the north, man. We finally see some warm weather. I can finally forecast weather in the 70s in Minnesota. Finally, good grief, man. But it's going to bring severe weather. We'll talk more about that later. You get warm weather, you get severe weather. Hey, how about that? So, anyway, so let's keep moving. Here's Friday. So, Friday, our storm kind of gets a little bit weaker. We lose some of our energy. We do maintain a slight risk for severe weather here across Alabama, North Georgia, Atlanta. All right. You're going to be in line for that severe weather. We have southern Louisiana, New Orleans. You're going to also be in line for that severe weather. Biloxi, Mississippi, Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Apalachicola, the Florida Panhandle. You guys are going to be seeing some of that severe weather as well. Remember, we got a low risk for tornadoes, but a moderate risk for damaging wind and large hail. We're talking ping pong size hail, maybe some quarter size hail, nickel, dime, So we'll see that severe weather in this region again, but the tornado threat, I think, is going to be low. But heavy rain will be off the chart. You're talking 5-6 inches of rain. We're going to see a lot of rain across the southeast over the next few days here. So it's going to alleviate a lot of droughts and concerns in this region, but you've already been in good shape as far as drought concerns. You've had plenty of rainfall. We've had storm after storm hit the southeastern corner, this half of the United States, where all this green is right now. There's no drought concerns here. The Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley, the upper Mississippi Valley. It's been a little dry in Minnesota and the northern plains here. It's been a little dry, but not really compared to this. They've had plenty of rainfall down in the southeast. It's been a great year for them. The west, whoa, good Lord. Now we're talking drought. It's been ridiculous. I mean, the worst drought in history for California. I mean, you got I follow a couple guys on TikTok one guy is a potato farmer up here in Idaho, Oregon. There's some onion farmers as well. And then there's a couple dairies, some cattle ranches and farms. And these guys talk a lot about how dry it's been. One guy has to cover his watermelons with a covering to keep the ground soil warm because it's been in the 50s and stuff. And he's trying to grow watermelons so that it can be ready in time for the summer and for June. But he has to keep the ground at least 70 degrees so his plants can grow. You know, they have to do things to circumvent the dry weather conditions. All right, so let's keep on. I'm having fun doing this weather forecast. If you notice, yesterday I sound kind of sleepy. I don't know. I was a little bit out of it. But here's our excessive rainfall look for today. Right, Oklahoma, you have that moderate threat for that heavy rainfall. So it's going to be a 6 to 8 inches of rain in this region right here today. All right, so we're going to see copious amounts of rain with some of these thunderstorms. These are the ones we call gully washers. So some of the washes and rivers, and going to be some flooding down here through Oklahoma, North Texas, Arkansas, southern Missouri, southeastern Kansas. Going to see a lot of wet weather in that part of the country today and tomorrow, and into Friday for the southeast. All right, so here's our drought. Now we're talking about that drought. So the drought conditions are going to persist here across South Texas. But look, even the South New Orleans, southern Louisiana has been in drought conditions, as most of the storms have been hitting here. But we do see drought conditions improving along the Front Range. We got the northern plains, Montana, parts of the Dakotas. We're talking South Dakota. Drought conditions are going to kind of persist through the week, but some improvement have been seen, but continuous improvement here because our storms have been kind of coming down this track. You know, they've been coming through this region lately, so they're getting some improvements as far as the drought concerned. But you can see out here to the west, see the Pacific Northwest. Now, if you're right along the coast, you're out of the drought situation. But a lot of the farms up here is in this region. This is where all your farms are, because this is the mountains. This here is the Cascade Mountain Range, right? Here's where you have this flat plain here between the northern Rockies and the Cascades. This Spokane, this is the Columbia Valley here, it's called, right? A lot of farmland in there. And here in Oregon, a lot of farmland here in Central Oregon. So the drought conditions are going to persist. And we're going to have the same here in Nevada, California. It's just no end in sight. And it's going to get worse here. Going to get worse. Now, for some reason, here's what's interesting I need to say about this. Arizona doesn't look to be too bad. Well, it's so dry here naturally. So this is where they are. They have some excessive dryness, but not the worst. It's not as bad as it here because it's already dry as a bone there to begin with. I mean, some places here Phoenix averages less than 6 inches of rain a year. So they're pretty much in line with where they should be, but they're even well below the 6 inches they get. What they have this year, about 1.2 inches of rain this winter. So very far below normal. But if you look at the Northeast, the Midwest, the Appalachians, just fine. They've had plenty of rainfall. If anything, it's a little bit too wet through here now. They've had lots of rainfall. So no drought concerns at all for that area. All right, so now that we're in May, let's start talking about tropical weather. So I'm going to start including this and put this up here until something pops up. But right now, no new tropical cyclones are expected during the next 5 days. So nothing much to say here, but it is important that we start to watch this area now as we get close to the end of May, because hurricane season do start May 30th. So they just ended um, the 21 hurricane season officially just ended as far as our tracking and records are concerned. And I think all the hurricane service guys, the National Hurricane Center guys, went on vacation for a month or so. So they can get their time off before they come back to start tracking the busy hurricane season that's expected to happen here. So nothing going on right now, so not much to say there. All right, so here we are taking a look at the severe threat for the next couple days. Here we are. This is Oklahoma. We have Oklahoma City, Tulsa. You're going to be in that enhanced area today. The biggest thing is going to be for the medium threat for tornadoes here. So it's going to be medium. So I expect to see a few tornadoes later on this afternoon and evening. There will be some tornadoes out there. How big they are, where they hit, that all remains to be seen. But there will be tornadoes out there. You mark my words. There will be tornadoes through Oklahoma today, this afternoon, all right? And then, so pay attention to the weather forecast. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to Reed Timmer. Pay attention to Ryan Hall. Pay attention to all of these guys on YouTube that be doing the weather. Schlotthauer, those guys. Mitch West. Pay attention to these guys and what they're telling you, okay? I ain't gonna see you wrong. Pay attention to your local news, whatever. Anybody that's telling you, hey, take cover and get out of Dodge, you listen to them, okay? Because this is the worst time of the year for the state of Oklahoma as far as tornadoes. Oklahoma has the greatest threat for seeing, or the greatest likelihood or probability of seeing a tornado this week, in the next couple weeks, than any other place in the nation. That is traditionally, like if we evaluate the climate data or the historical records for Oklahoma or for the country for this week, Oklahoma sees more tornadoes than any other place. Traditional, historically, climatologically, more tornadoes here in Oklahoma. Okay, very serious business there. All right. So we're also going to be talking about some baseball. So if you like the Minnesota Twins or the, the Texas Rangers, whoever, if you like baseball, enjoy dodging them falling out of the sky. Okay, so we see the big hailstones falling today. Gorilla hail possible. Oklahoma City is also the hail capital of the world. Oklahoma City and Dallas, right? The hail capital of the world. Get that. Get that. Man, I saw a video from a couple days ago. Hailstones falling. It was just, man, it drained somebody's pool. The hail was falling so fast. It splashed all the water out of their pool. Pool was nearly empty by the time they hit. The water was thrown out. It was filled with hailstones. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh my God. And it was in Oklahoma City. Okay? So we're going to be dealing with 80 mile per hour winds. See, what's going to happen this afternoon as these thunderstorms are going to form as discrete supercells, right? We're going to be looking at the pretty photogenic rotating thunderstorms where you see that low base just hanging down, rotating, no precipitation. So we're going to see those low precipitation supercells. These are going to be elevated, especially here in western Oklahoma, because that's what you commonly see down there. You see, because you have the dry line. The dry line causes the LCL to be higher. LCL is your condensation point, right? Your point in which the clouds form, right? Because of the moisture, right? It's going to be elevated. So you're going to see those elevated thunderstorms. The bases will be 6,000, 7,000 feet, but the cloud tops are at 60, 50,000 55,000 feet. The cloud tops are busting through the troposphere, right? Into the tropopause. And right, so you're going to be seeing those tall, tall thunderstorms, right? With the modest, all of the beautiful structure. You're going to start off with those storms, right? And eventually, they're going to congeal into a line. It's going to become a linear thunderstorm. If anybody watched my live stream the other day when I covered that big thunderstorm in Oklahoma City, you saw it was a big long line. Just go back and watch that video, right? You see that long line of thunderstorms. That's when you're going to get your heavy rainfall. When it becomes a linear, it's going to form into an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. So we're going to see that big linear thunderstorm. Going to be huge. A huge linear thunderstorm that's going to make a big squall line and march across the valley. All right? That's going to be your excessive rainfall. You're going to see your large hail in that. And you may see tornadoes. The tornadoes may occur from the outflow of the big MCS, right? Going to have outflow that may kick off storms ahead of it, right? It's going to kick off some more discrete supercells. We saw that in Oklahoma City as well, where there was one discrete cell that was out in front of the main squall line, and that supercell caused several tornadoes near Norman, Parcel. It hit through more Midwest city. It kind of made like a tornado warned supercell that was out ahead of that main squall line. So you're going to see that happening. The outflow boundary is going to kick off some supercells out ahead and down. You're going to see that tornado threat is going to exist on your southern tip of that squall line, that southwestern corner. As that curling comes in, we're going to see that bow echo. When you see that bow echoes and that bowing, you're going to see those severe thunderstorm warnings go up. That's a classic sign of a severe thunderstorm when you see that bow echo. And then you're going to see those discrete supercells with those hook echoes. So you want to look for the hook echoes, and you get those couplets on the radar when you're looking at those supercell thunderstorms. So this is going to be our threat today. This is going to be tomorrow. Arkansas, we got Little Rock. This is going to be for excessive rainfall, that enhanced risk for severe weather. Tornado threat is going to be on the low end. Doesn't mean they can't happen, but they're going to be lower. And we're talking 60 mile per hour winds, right? And we're going to see quarter-size hail. But the big threat, excessive rainfall. That 6 to 8 inches of rain for tomorrow in Arkansas, okay? All right, here's our severe threat. Central Oklahoma, north central Texas. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 12 today, right? We're going to have a good day out there as far as severe weather chasing is concerned. All right, so we're going to be seeing that 7. We're going to be seeing those tornadoes. We're going to see we're going to see a lot of rope tornadoes, maybe some stovepipe tornadoes, because that's the ones you typically see when you have elevated activity. Ropes and stovepipe, maybe some multi-vortex tornadoes like the Andover tornado. The Andover tornado was a cone with multi-vortex. Those sub-vortexes rotating around. Did you see the one where it kind of looked like a snake going around it? That's those multi-vortexes. Really very wild stuff going on right there. So that's what we're going to be seeing across Oklahoma City today. All right, here we are for Arkansas, southern Missouri tomorrow. We're going to give it a 5 out of 12. But the main threat is going to be excessive rainfall. But you do have a low risk for tornadoes. We do have a moderate risk for large hail. We're going to see that quarter-size hail and that damaging winds, 60 miles per hour. But you're going to see linear thunderstorms for tomorrow across Arkansas. Not discrete supercells for the most part. You may see 1 or 2 out ahead of that squall line like I just described before. And those discrete cells are the ones that's going to be producing your tornado. So that's going to be in the initial development of your system that you're going to see the tornado threat happens early on. Then it evolves into the linear thunderstorm. So that is a look at what we're going to be seeing for the next few days. Another forecast where I'm talking about severe weather. Every day, I'm doing the same forecast over and over again. That's what it seems like to me. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. My name is Julie GOUDEAU. This is Elite Weather Forecasting, and I'll be back later on with the daily weather forecast for TikTok and YouTube. Please leave your likes. You can follow me on TikTok, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. But you don't have to do both, because I ain't trying to ask for too much. Pick one. Pick TikTok or pick YouTube. I'll be happy either way. And if you pick both, I'll even be even more happy. Hey guys, I got nothing but love for you. Have a great day out there. Be safe if you're a storm chaser. My prayers are with you. My prayers for your success, for your safety, and that you can do the job that you love, right? And have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.